Okay, welcome back to the ninth inning pod. I am sick, but I am Ben. I am not sick Ben. I am just both, but individually. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hi, Bradley. How are you?
I am a little sad today. Some of my parlays didn't work out, but we're still cooking like fried rice, and we are here. We are here.
Did you message the people on social media asking them why they couldn't have caught a few more catches or run for a few more yards?
I did not. I did not. Freaking Washington sold one of my college football parlays. Actually, sold like multiple of them. Um, and then the Colts lost to the Packers, so that kind of sold me a little bit. Yeah, just kind of a. We're still here. We're still here. Let's move on before I get agitated.
Bradley and I were both sick this week. So we are recording this on Sunday. So by the time this hits your mentally parceled ears. I don't even know what that means. It's going to be fresh. That's the point. Today is Sunday, September 15th. We have 2 weeks to go in the regular season of the 2024 Major League Baseball year. We got a lot of good stuff today. We got Bradley's tidbits as per usual. Scorecards, performance as usual, and there is so much going on in the playoff race that we're probably not going to talk about nothing else today. Um, but yeah, as usual, we have trivia. And Bradley, would you like to ask the first trivia question today?
Sure.
I'm honored.
My trivia question is I don't know, I don't think it's too hard, but you might not think of it this way. Who was the first African American player inducted into the Hall of Fame who didn't play in the Negro Leagues?
Oh, like the simple answer is I just don't know. I feel like I haven't heard of this question. Is this like, is it going to be obvious after you tell me?
I don't know if it will be, just because you might think it kind of shocking that I'll give you like this player played in like the 60s and 70s, and he is like a generational player. Like he was insane, and he forced a couple of rule changes actually.
Um, I don't know why this comes to mind. I don't even know if this is the right era because I'm not 100% sure when this player played, but I'm going to say Bob Gibson.
Ben Jaluba. That is correct, sir.
Wow. I don't, you just said 60s, and that's the first player that came to mind. So
I think my hints were too generous.
I'm going to be honest. Outside of the 60s one, I couldn't tell you what rules he's changed. Can you please
He
inform
made
me?
he changed the mound.
How? In what way?
So it was too high. Like it was like much the mound was much higher. So then they lowered it to like kind of like reduce his velocity.
Gotcha. But he's like throwing off of a two-story building, and the batter is on ground level.
Correct, yeah.
Kind of funny, actually. Huh. Bob Gibson. The only hints that tipped me off anywhere was the 60s. I wasn't even 100% confident in it. So
Oh, good for you, Ben. I think you're on a what, two pod streak?
yeah, that's a record which will never be topped again. um,
Until next week.
my trivia. What I'm gonna say is if you get three of these, not that anyone's keeping score, but if some crazy lunatic wants to go back and start keeping score, if you get three of these, I'll give you a point, and if you get all five, I'll give you 2 points. I feel like that's fair for this type of question.
Okay.
Um, so on Baseball Savant, if you guys don't know what that is, it's a website that essentially tells you the nerdiest baseball statistics you could possibly want to know. On Baseball Savant, there is a stat called run value, which talks about an individual player's pitch and how valuable it is the course of a game. So, for example, if R.A. Dickey, his knuckleball struck out more than any other player's pitch, his would be higher in comparison to anyone else. So it's specific pitch, but it's like per pitcher, if that makes sense. So your and I fastball would be different in this statistic. Are you
Okay.
following me?
Yeah, yeah. So is this like all time?
This is 2024. You can search it to be all time, which I can you? No, you can only go back to 2019. Actually.
Okay.
But so in 2024 so far, what are the 5 most valuable pitches by run value? So again, you're gonna have to think of like the pitcher and then the specific pitch.
Oh, so I have to say both.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, the first one that comes to mind is Class A's cutter.
Lassay's cutter is number 4.
So, oh no, is Corbin Burns' cutter up here? How many guesses do I get?
What do you think is reasonable? I feel like three misses is reasonable.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Corbin Burns' cutter is not on here.
What?
He is his cutter is at number 20.
Wow.
There's 19
Wow.
more valuable pitches according to this stat.
I want to say Chris Sale's sinker, but do I go with this? I feel like every single strikeout I see is on a slider. Do I go slider instead?
I would go slider if I were you.
Okay, Chris Sale's slider.
Chris Sale's slider is number 2.
Oh, wow.
Um, I feel like this is also a fair hint because this is a difficult question. The last 3 pitches on here are all the same pitch. It's just by a different pitcher.
Last three.
Yeah, in the top 5 here.
Well, I already got Class A at fourth, so they're all cutters.
Oh, not the 3 you haven't got. Sorry.
Oh, so they're probably fastballs. They're all three the same, right? Four
Yeah.
seams.
Now they are I'll tell you they are fastballs. Now who has a top 3 fastball in the MLB?
Wouldn't it be funny if Pablo Lopez is in here after one of the things we're gonna talk about later?
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that-
screw it. Screw it. I'm gonna guess it.
Pablo Lopez is number 3.
What? Who the heck's number? Who is the most valuable pitch in baseball? If it's not Clase or Sale, the only other guys I can think of is like Scooble, but I feel like he has a balanced approach as far as his arsenal.
Scooble's best pitches is fastball, which is
Okay.
14th on here.
Oh, okay, that's very respectable. Um, it has to be a fastball. So I'm trying to think of like flamethrowers, like a Mason Miller, Hunter Green. I feel like maybe shoot, who's that guy on the Angels? Oh, I'm blanking on his name, Ben.
How did you not get it after you just said that sentence?
What do you mean?
I'm blanking on his name, Ben.
Oh, Ben Jones.
I feel like that's one of the sentences you accidentally say out loud. You're like, oh my god, I'm an idiot.
Yes. I'm gonna go with like Mason Miller's fastball.
Mason Miller is not on here. I'm not even sure. Mason Miller is 43rd. I had to re-say that because I had the little sound come up on my computer.
Oh, gotcha.
Freddie Peralta's changeup is his best pitch at 141. His fastball is 288.
The only if it's not Ben Joyce, the only other guy I can really think of is like Hunter Green, but like I don't think he's been that valuable. I don't know.
Hunter Green is number 5.
Wait, so I got it?
Yeah, you don't have number 1 though. And number 1 is easily the hardest one on this list to guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
The number 1 pitch in baseball according to run value is Cade Smith.
The reliever from the Guardians?
That is correct.
Are you serious right now? The
Yep.
the the Guardians have the nastiest bullpen in baseball? Crazy concept.
Yeah, they have they have Cade Smith and Clase as two of the top five pitches in baseball. The other ones that are on here, Tyler Anderson changeup is high on the list. Zach Wheeler's
Really?
sinker, Reynaldo Lopez fastball, Luis Castillo fastball, and Christopher Sanchez changeup are the top 10.
Wow.
Paul Skeens, they call a sinker on Baseball Savant is 18,
Okay.
but yep, yep. I love Baseball Savant. If you're ever bored, to anyone who's listening to us, and also you, Bradley, just take a little trip over here and look at some of the stats they have on this website. It is actually incredible.
You have to use this website a little bit more.
You should.
This is not sponsored, by the way.
No.
Even though I would take it.
If Baseball Savant came over here and was like, "Yo, we're gonna sponsor your podcast," I think, and then the first question I would ask is, where do I sign?
For real.
But yeah, I wanted to like look. I was thinking about Corbin Burns' cutter actually, and I'm like, I wonder where it ranks in comparison to some of these other ones. So Bradley with a point. He did not get the sweep. They did get a point.
Let's go.
Um, Speaking of Bradley, it's time for the. Honestly, this might be my favorite part of the podcast. I know we've only done it once, but this time for Bradley's tidbits.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the tidbits.
Hi, Bradley.
The first thing I will say, I just sent this to you, Aunt Ben. Rarity of events in MLB games. This is individual, not team. So the most, how do I say this? The most less rare event is hitting for the cycle, which has happened 339 times. Okay, there are many in between, such as perfect game, 23 times of occurrence. One of them being 2 grand slams in a game, 13 times. And then the most rare that has ever happened in Major League Baseball history, has happened only one time, and that is 2 grand salamis in an inning. And that was hit by Tatis, his father, in 1999. Fernando Tatis Sr. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That'd have been a great trivia question, by the way.
That would have been, but I blew it.
There's some other ones on here that you could use for trivia for sure.
Yeah.
Grand
I'm
slam
not.
in first career at bat, like that's got to be the greatest feeling of all time.
Oh, 100%.
Perfect game lost in the 27th batter. Speaking of that, there was a no hitter lost on the 27th or 28th batter, the last batter, which goes back to one of my trivia questions. Early on, you happen to know who the no hitter was?
No.
That no hitter was a combined no hitter that happened against Baltimore.
Oh, the Cubs?
No, the Tigers literally like 2 days ago had a
Oh,
combined no hitter. Bo Brisky, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He started the game, he threw an inning and a third. Brant Herter threw 5 2/3 innings.
okay.
Hanafi pitched an inning, and then Tyler Holton led up a triple to Gunnar Henderson with 2 outs in the ninth.
Wow.
But anyway, sorry, a little tangent there. Just a fun fact, just a little callback.
Hey, a
You
little Ben tidbit.
Yes, the singular Ben tidbit. All right, let's
All
hear
right.
some
My
more. I
next
want
tidbit
more.
is, gosh darn it, Ben, you're interrupting, man.
I'm gonna go
I'm
hide,
just, I'm
and
just
you
trolling.
can
I'm just
text me
trolling.
when you're done. How's that sound?
No, I'm not going to do that. You're here. You're present. The next tidbit is The Tigers rookie tosses a shutout. Kiter Montero goes for a complete game with 3 hits on just 96 pitches. Talk about being efficient, my friend. The next one is a very, very fun one. One of our favorite people in baseball, Nicholas Castellanos. Let's just say he got a little heated after he got beamed by a pitch, and the bench is cleared. So that was fun to watch.
I'm not gonna
I
lie.
will say, huh?
I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were going somewhere else when you mentioned Nick Castellanos, but continue.
Oh, I will say it did look intentional, so I think he had every right to be a little peeved.
Yeah, no,
So
no, I agree. I'm
yeah,
with you there.
yeah, yeah. So
Can I
hopefully he
interrupt you
gets
for a
punished.
second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you see what happened? I don't know if this might be one of your tidbits too. I don't want to get ahead of you, but with Alex Cora and the Yankees.
I don't know what happened there.
So Devers gets hit by Garrett Cole, and then intentionally
Okay.
walked later in the game, um, with nobody on base, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Uh, but the weird thing is that the Red Sox throw at Judge. They throw behind him after the game. Alex Cora says, "Yeah, we missed our opportunity." Whoever the Red Sox pitcher was, he said he missed Judge. So he just blatantly admitted they threw to him, and it doesn't seem like there's going to be any punishment for that pitcher or Alex Cora, which is a little weird.
That is a little weird, actually. What the
Anyway,
heck?
continue.
Okay. My next tidbit is Yamamoto gets his first start since June 15th, and he strikes out the side. Good for the Dodgers, I guess. Good for Yamamoto. Good to see him back, and he's dealing once again. So good for him. Um, One of them. My next tidbit is a player that I don't think you or I really likes, but I mean he's a great player, and I know he's. I feel like he's a love hate kind of player, and that player is Manny Machado. On Tuesday, September 10th, by the way, Manny Machado broke the Padres record for most home runs in team history, and he did it in just 6 seasons.
I
That's
can't
impressive.
believe he's been there for 6 seasons. It feels like he's been there for two.
Yeah, time flies, man, when you're having fun.
Yeah, he's having a lot of it.
Yeah, no kidding. The next tidbit can also be used as, well, maybe as trivia, but Bartolo Colon. Okay, you all know him
He's
as, big
unretiring.
sexy.
He's
He
back.
is. Yeah, he's coming to the Brewers.
Oh, no, 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 no! Please.
Actually, he's going to the White Sox. They need him. Um, no, Bartolo Colon swung at 610 pitches during his big league career. Can you guess how many times his helmet stayed on for?
Oh, I think I saw this. It was like less than 30% of them or something like that. No, it was way less than that. I don't remember the exact number. We're gonna say 40.
That's actually a very good guess. Bartolo Colon swung at 610 pitches, and his helmet only stayed on for 27 of them. That is
That's a
crazy.
healthy cut,
That
Bartolo.
is a very healthy cut. Oh, yeah. The next one is Paul Skeens got his 143rd strikeout, and he broke the Pirates rookie single season record. So that's a little fun little factoid. The Rangers, they promoted one of their number 3 pick from 2022, Kumar Rocker, to their to start a game. He did, by the way. And it's cool to see him playing because I know there was, well, obviously him and was Al Light, no, Mark Leiter, coming out of Vandy. Those two were insane. And then I know he slipped a little bit because of health issues and such, but I mean, it's just so good to see him back and he's dealing. And I mean, good for the Rangers. They seem to have another young stud pitcher coming up. So maybe, I don't know if this year's the year for them to make a run, but I don't know. Definitely could this year or next year. Sorry, apologies. The next tidbit I have is very interesting. It has to do with the AL MVP race. Bobby Witt Jr. versus Aaron Judge. When this photo was taken on Wednesday, Bobby Witt Jr. had 30 home runs and Aaron Judge had 51. If Bobby Witt Jr. played all his games at Yankee Stadium, he would have 38 home runs. If Judge played all his games at Kauffman Stadium, he would have 38 home runs. And by the way, that's for home all their games, meaning like if they played all their home games at those respective stadiums.
Just
So
home games?
yeah.
Hmm.
Is that interesting?
That is very interesting.
All right, here's a couple of little tidbits about the history of the game. Oh, a little bit about the history of the game. Take that with a grain of salt. In 2023, there are more Tommy John surgeries among professional pitchers than in the entire decade of the 1990s. Stan Musial had 3,630 career hits. 1,815 of them were on the road, and the other 1,815 were at home. Mr. Cardinal putting in work away and at home. Madison Bumgarner has one earned run in 36 World Series innings. Talk about clutch. Some sad news for the Rangers. Gave a little good, and of course, there's a little bad too. Corey Seager is out for the season. He will have surgery on his sports hernia on Friday. So 2 days ago, he had surgery. And yeah, that's all my Bradley's tidbits. I'm sorry I had to end on a kind of a sad note, but you know, that comes with the game of baseball, I guess. Just got to get healthy, and the Rangers will make a run next year. I have strong confidence in that fact. The Rangers will fully be back next season.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Rangers, and that's for a few things quick. Jacob deGrom is back. I've been itching to talk about the deGrominator. But he pitched pretty well. I turned on the game and in the fourth inning, excited to watch some Jacob deGrom highlights, and what happens? He pitches one pitch and gets pulled in the fourth inning. But it is exciting that he's back for a little bit. He was just on a short pitch count, short leash, which makes 100% sense, because why would you want to overpitch a guy who hasn't pitched in over a year and a half? It would be weird. But anyway, he's back. Good for the game of baseball, as Bradley would say. Yeah, he's back. But also on the realm of Tommy John, I feel like when I was growing up as a kid and I heard someone say Tommy John, it was almost like, it wasn't scary, but it was sad. You know, even if it was someone on a team that I didn't like or player I didn't care for, yeah, they had to get Tommy John. It was like gosh darn it, that really, really stinks. But now, I feel like you hear someone gets Tommy John, you're like, dang it, and then you go on with your day. Like,
right.
It's so frequent and is happening so much. And I don't think it's 100% the pitch clock. I'm guessing the pitch clock has some bits to do with it. And I'm gonna do another little tangent here. There's one pitcher, I don't know if you saw my tweet, Bradley, that seems to constantly find ways to manipulate this. And I don't know, it's a Brewer, so spoiler alert. I don't know if there's a and there's definitely intention to do this, but I don't think there's a stat that shows this. But he has to lead the league, or at least be close in the league, to the amount of times you pause a game and get a new ball. Like, he just calls time, he says this ball is junk, and he throws it and gets a new one. Trevor McGill seems to do that once every outing. If you guys are ever watching a Brew game and Trevor McGill comes in, see if he ever calls time to get a new ball, because that's a way that players can take a little bit extra of a break without using a disengagement, or if you don't have disengagements with no one's on base, that's a way you can get a little timeout also. Just a fun thing that I have, admitted, picked up on.
Right. Well,
And
that makes sense, especially McGill. Just how hard he throws, just give him that extra little break. No, that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, just something interesting and unique. I don't see a lot of other players do it. I mean, it's not something that you look for generally as a baseball fan, but it's just something neat. And also, if you don't believe me that this fact is true, or that he does it a lot, I tweeted that, and then Trevor McGill's mom liked it, so she's aware of the antics he's pulling.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's actually kind of crazy.
and I know it's Trevor McGill's mom because nobody else in their right mind would tweet that much about only the McGill brothers.
Right.
But anyway, little side street I went down there.
That's fun.
Um, next up, uh, is we're gonna do our weekly playoff race update because my goodness, everything is weird. I feel like everything is always weird. I say this every week. Bradley, what division do you want to look at, dive into first?
I mean, we might as well look at the Yankees Orioles. I mean, the Yankees are pulling away, and I don't like it.
Yeah, right now we're looking like we're awful at knowing what's going on here.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it looks like. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be 100% honest. It looks like everything is kind of set right now. Like, there's only what 16 games left of the season ish, give or take. And I mean, just like 3 games is just looking astronomical at this point. It looks ginormous, like a big gap. And I don't know what happened to the Orioles because last we checked on the podcast last week. The Orioles had what a half game lead, and I was so confident the Orioles would not look back. I did not think they were going to cough up that lead. What do you think about that?
So Baltimore has lost 3 straight series to teams that, if you ask them, I'm sure they would say that they should not be losing these series to. Um,
Yeah,
they lost to Tampa Bay 2 out of 3 games, scoring a grand total of 3 runs. Not great. They lost to Boston in 2 out of 3 games, letting up 20 runs. Not great. And then they lost to Detroit, where they only scored 6 runs, which is not great. It and to be fair, some stuff just looks like it's not going their way, but they are struggling to find wins right now. I mean that's really the easiest way to say it. They fought hard against the Dodgers. They ended up losing that series, but that's when they looked like Baltimore. Um, Colorado and the White Sox they took care of, and then this last week and a half, it's been struggling for Baltimore. Um, they just look to me. I haven't watched a ton of Baltimore Orioles innings the last week and a half. It just looks like when I do that they're almost deflated.
right.
They don't have the energy that they had early in the year or at any other point in the
Yeah.
year.
I don't think there's any world where they miss the playoffs. I mean, the Royals are right there behind them. They could slip back a spot. I mean, it's possible. But yeah, they don't look like the same Orioles team that well, A has been playing the whole year. And I mean, honestly, after the All-Star break, they just don't look the same. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there in Baltimore, but if they want a shot, which I think they do, obviously they want it. I think they do at least. They have a very capable roster. They got to find some sort of juice. They got to find Mike's secret stuff, man.
Yeah, something has to change quick. And to be fair, the Brewers haven't played the greatest brand of baseball, but as a Brewers fan, I was like, I'm happy that they're playing their offense is dead in early September. I would rather it be dead now than early October. So maybe for Baltimore, this is just one of those lows, and when the time matters, they're going to come storming back and then be back to their normal selves, which I think is totally reasonable to expect and hope as a Baltimore Orioles fan.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, jeez. You said you don't think they're going to miss the playoffs. I would put it on a guarantee that they don't, because they're 7 games ahead of Detroit, who would be the team to pass them.
Right.
And in
They can
two in
slip
two
though.
weeks, that is just an astronomically bad
Yeah.
collapse.
I mean, they are 3-7 in their last 10, so it's doable. Like anything is doable. Like this is baseball. It's possible. Like they can have one of the greatest collapses in MLB history. I'm not saying they will because they are a very well-rounded franchise. But I mean, it's possible if they keep on slipping like this and say, I mean, Detroit's 7-3 in their last 10. Like if trends keep on going like that, then it's possible. I don't want to see it happen, but it's definitely possible. Um, as far as like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over there in Baltimore. Like you said, be flat now, and by the time October comes around, you better fire back up. But I mean, when we're this close to the playoffs, you don't really you want to see teams start getting hot, not slowing down, cooling off. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. As a team, you don't ever want to be playing bad baseball. But baseball, and I think most sports, are a game of up and downs. And for Baltimore, I just think that it's concerning, but I don't think it's alarming. If that makes sense.
Right. No, I get it.
Um, but uh, but yeah, and across the rest of the AL, I mean, just at the playoff picture, the Yankees are obviously going to make it. And it's still possible Baltimore takes that division. They'd have to go on a little bit of a run. There is a Baltimore and Yankees series coming up that's going to be pretty big.
Yeah,
We'll
I'll see this.
see. Um, Cleveland is looking good. I mean, they've been playing good baseball. They've been playing good baseball all year. Houston is floating in there. On the cusp looking in, Seattle and Detroit. Seattle has decided to start playing not great baseball, but good baseball again. And the last few games, they've looked better. Texas had a lot of good pitching this series, and Seattle has fought their way back late in the game. 2 walk-offs the last 2 nights. A Julio Rodriguez walk-off and a Randy Rosarena walk-off. Not a Rodriguez walk-off, sorry, a 3-run go-ahead homer. Um, but yeah, Seattle's finding a way. I really like how Detroit has looked lately. Their pitching has been through the roof. Like I said, they took some from Baltimore. They took some from Colorado. They took some from Oakland. A part of it is they have had a nice schedule, but if a nice schedule gets you to playing the brand of baseball you want, so when you get to the good teams, you're playing better baseball, that's obviously a good thing.
Right.
So I would say Detroit is, if any, my favorite to get past Minnesota. I mean, the Twins have not looked good,
Oh,
but
they haven't.
there's a lot of season. 2 weeks is a lot of season left.
Yeah, it is. It really,
But
yeah. I mean, there's plenty of time for some crazy things to happen. You know.
yeah, and over in the National League, the Phillies are starting to look like the Phillies again. I mean, they're doing exactly what we expected, right? I
Yep.
mean, I thought that maybe there'd be a little, I don't want to say leeway, but I wasn't confident they were gonna return to their form, but it feels like they have returned to their form, and they are doing the little things to get wins. The Dodgers have fallen a little bit, and the Brewers are on their tail. What do you think about? Uh, I think this is just a good conversation. What do you think about the Brewers' chances to get a first round bye right now?
Ooh. I I mean, we're right there. I The Dodgers got to lose. Bottom line, we're not catching the Phillies. I don't think they're playing way too good right now. Um, yeah, I just honestly, I don't like it. I don't really. Our schedule is too tough. Like we're gonna lose some games, we're gonna win some games. Um, I don't know. It's hard for me to say right now because let's see, who do the Dodgers have left? Like they have two more against Atlanta, which they've lost two straight against Atlanta. So right now, the best they can do is tie up the series. Then they have Miami, and then Colorado, and then San Diego, and then Colorado. Like that's just like the best we can hope for as Brewers fans is the Braves can take two more from the Dodgers. We can take two from the D-backs. We take the lead, and then somehow Colorado and Miami like finds ways to beat the Dodgers. I just think with who the Dodgers have left, I just don't. I'm not confident. I'm not.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Brewers' schedule is a significantly more uphill battle. The what I'm excited for, just to be completely blunt, is starting tomorrow when this podcast comes out. Heck, maybe you're gonna have to turn off the podcast real quick and go turn on the game. The Brewers host the Phillies for 3,
Yeah.
and I said this a week ago. I said this 3 days ago. And I'm gonna say it now too. The Brewers will get a first round bye if they sweep the Phillies. If not, they won't have it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
honestly, yeah.
I
Yeah,
do,
no, you're right.
like if you take 2 out of 3, you probably won't be able to catch the Dodgers at that point. And the other thing too is you get 3 games on the Phillies. So and however many the Dodgers lose, but if they sweep the Phillies, they have it, and if not, then unfortunately, I think they're gonna have to play in the wild card series.
Because I mean, let's say the Brewers, which last I checked, they are losing to the D-backs right now. They're down 2-0 in the bottom of the second to the D-backs right now. But if they can beat the D-backs tonight and the Phillies can lose, or
Phillies
do
won
they play?
today already.
They
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
Oh. So I mean, even if we win, we're what 2.5 games back of the Phillies?
3.
Oh, three. Yeah. So then, yeah, I mean, your numbers check out. I don't
Um,
know. It's gonna be a tough task, though. It really is.
so there's also 2 important things to note regarding this race here. The Brewers do not have the tiebreaker over the Dodgers, and the only way they'll have the tiebreaker over the Phillies is if they sweep them. Um, so the sweep would help not only to give the tiebreaker over Philly, but also, and more importantly, to get the records closer.
Right.
But I think that is a race. If you're an average MLB fan, just keep in the back of your mind. Not one of the important ones as we come into the stretch here, but just to look at. I mean, the first round bye is so critical. People often like to say that it doesn't matter that much because the Braves lost when they got a first round bye. It is so critical. The Braves made it further than uh, 21 other teams that year, 22 other teams that year. It matters a lot.
Yeah.
And in the wild card, I mean, unless you think the Cubs are in it, it's really down to 4 teams.
Yeah.
And any of these 4 could be the odd one out. What do you think the NL wild card is? What are your thoughts on the wild card right now?
I want to see the Mets. I mean, I saw the Mets had it the other day, and now the Braves are back in that slot. I mean, this is exciting for me. Two like the biggest, I'd say biggest fan bases in baseball. Some of the at least top what 7, 8 biggest fan bases in baseball right there. Braves are probably what do you say top 3 probably with like the Dodgers, Yankees, and then Braves.
Yeah, I mean
But yeah, I
the fan
mean,
bases are up there.
oh yeah, like I mean, baseball is just gonna. I feel like baseball will be like circling these two teams and like putting them on like obviously prime time for baseball isn't the same as prime time for football. I'm not debating that point, but like I think there's going to be a lot more focus on these two teams and the games that they'll be playing the rest of the year, just because they are some of the biggest names in baseball and they are racing each other for a playoff spot. I mean, if the D-backs lose tonight, they could very well see themselves out of the playoffs too. I mean, it is. I think the Padres are fine. I think they're locked. I think they're going to be 1 or 2 seed easily. But yeah, the D-backs, Braves, and Mets is a race right now, and I mean it's going to be very exciting. This is, I think, the only race we have really left for baseball. And as far as playoffs go, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for this. I don't know about you, but I am very excited.
Yeah, so the series maybe of the year in the entire over the entire MLB, the biggest series is gonna be at Atlanta on the 24th, 25th, and 26th. So not this week, but next week when the Mets are in town. I mean, it's probably gonna come down to the winner of that series is in the playoffs.
Right.
The Mets have to play in Milwaukee the weekend after, which doesn't help. Atlanta hosts the Royals, I think, so it's crazy. And the craziest thing to me is Atlanta is just so down with injuries. And now it looks like there's question marks on Lindor. Um he fouled a ball off his foot and then had back problems today. I think the back is the bigger issue. Today he had a single to lead off the game, and then he was gingerly or jogging the first, and then he came out of the game. I don't think he went out in the field in the bottom of the first. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy. The fact that it's in a divisional rivalry like the Braves and Mets too is gonna make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm just it's just so exciting.
Yeah.
The D-backs are in a good spot right now. They've had two difficult losses. I think it was a 2-1 loss on Friday, and then last night the Brewers just erupt early, and even though they made it a little more interesting than it probably should have been, um, it didn't feel like they were out of the game last night, even though the scoreboard would say otherwise.
Right. No, that was. I started to get a little nervous there towards the end. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think every Brewer fan was jittery at some point, but yeah, the D-backs look good, the Padres look good, the Braves and Mets, man. I feel like this is for me. This is where this division or this wild card race is at. The Braves and the Mets, and like I said, obviously everything they do before the series matters, but the Braves Mets series is the series to watch. If your favorite team is out of it and you want to watch some high intense baseball next week, turn that on.
Yeah. Basically, playoff baseball right there.
It might as well be. But yeah, there's a lot of good all around the league right now, and it's just exciting. It's exciting, dude. This time of year is fun. Are there any other teams that you saw that you want to mention something about?
I unfortunately like I watched some baseball, but I was busy, and then I got food poisoning, and so I was down astronomical there for a couple days. Not gonna lie to you.
Right, I forgive you. Yeah, Seattle's already up 3-0 on Texas again today.
Oh,
Mitch Garver had a 3-run homer. They might be. No, I'm not gonna say they're back. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not
you
gonna.
can't. You can't say that.
No, I can. You can never say that with Seattle. I mean, gee whiz. One series that I want to highlight: the Cubs. I mean, it's easy as a. It's gonna sound like as a Brewers fan, I'm just dunking on the Cubs here, but they had two really, really tough losses on Friday and Saturday. The The Friday game, they come back down 5-2 and put up a 3 spot on a Bush homer, I think in the top of the 8th, tie the game. And the Rockies come up in the 9th and hit a grand slam. Hunter Goodman, I think, hit the homer in the 8th. It was just for me watching that game, that felt like the blow to the Cubs playoff chances. That's when it ended. And then yesterday, they have a 2-run lead, I believe, going into the 9th. And then Sam Hilliard pokes a 2-run homer after a 2-out walk to tie the game, and then they walk it off in extras. Just two brutal losses for Chicago that have come to the hands of Rockies, but I don't know. Both those games just stood out, and unfortunately, both happened within the span of 2 nights that effectively, in my eyes, ended the Cubs season.
Yeah, I think it took all the wind out of their sails.
Yeah, no, that's the
I
right
mean, they're
word.
yeah, I mean, and they're already kind of a long shot from the Mets or the Braves, and yeah, that just took all the wind, man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for Cubs fans because that sucks. Because especially coming into this year, you guys had such high expectations for this team. I mean, I fully expected them to finish at least, I don't know. I I thought they were going to win the division. I thought the Brewers were going to be second. I just thought with all the additions the Cubs made this year, I thought they were going to be a lot better. But it turns out that they just needed time to get going, and I mean it's unfortunate, it really is.
it felt to me that the Cubs never clicked. They never hit their stride.
Right.
They
That,
always were close. They were close to breaking through, and then right before it just fell apart.
yeah, that's really well put. I like that.
Any other teams? I'm just looking through here. The Astros. I think I think I just want to talk about the Astros season as a whole while I'm thinking about it. So Houston started off. I don't know if you remember. They were awful. I feel like they were
Oh,
like
I
10
remember.
games below. And you're looking at the Astros. You're like, is this finally the year that they're just gonna evaporate from the picture? And I remember hearing, oh, there's gonna be big off season, big trade deadline changes, and then out of nowhere, all of a sudden they're in first again. It was like, what the heck happened? What do you think? What do you make out of the Astros season?
I think everybody kind of jumped to conclusions too fast. In my opinion, the Astros are the Astros. Like their starting rotation was crippled by injuries. Like they had a whole starting rotation on the IL at one point. Like everybody, I was never sellers on the Astros. I thought they just needed time. I did think that with their division and how strong it normally is, I thought there could have been a chance that yes, they could have been out. But I mean, but the Mariners and Rangers, they never took the division. I mean, they always left the Astros there. And the Astros, they struggled, yes, but they never struggled so bad where they killed themselves out of the race. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like the
Like
way you put
they were
that.
they were always there with the help of the teams in their division. And once they got starting pitching healthy and their offense just started to click, I mean, they took they took the lead of a weak division. I mean, I thought it was going to be a very strong division, and I mean, I feel like the Mariners and Rangers both kind of flopped on the expectations. I think everybody had. Uh, I thought I thought the Mariners. I think a lot of other people did had and the Rangers battling for first place, especially with how good that rotation is in Seattle. Obviously, the Rangers just won the World Series. I mean, yeah, Astros. They are the Astros. They're a winning ball club. They had all of the veteran leadership that they had there still in place. They just needed rotation to get healthy and the offense to click, and it did. And I mean, Mariners and Rangers had every opportunity to take the division. They didn't.
Before the year, I was pretty confident on 5 of the 6 divisions and what was going to happen. And the AL
How's that
West
working?
was the only one that I was not confident. I said it was going to be a toss up between Houston, Seattle, and Texas. And then, really, only because they just underperformed, Seattle and Texas over the course of the year kind of gave it to Houston. It felt like Seattle's only 4 games behind right now, but it doesn't even feel like they have a chance to catch Houston.
No.
Um, and while you were talking, I was just munching on some things. I think that what it this is a fun question. What division do you think is worse between the? I'm gonna phrase it a different way so it's positive. What division do you think is better, the AL Central or the AL West? And the reason I ask this is because you take the White Sox out of the AL Central, they are it's a completely different division. I think I read somewhere, I might have said this before, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that the Twins um have a 500 record against everyone except the White Sox, and then are 12-1 against the White Sox.
Oh, that was a Bradley Sid bet.
Oh, was it? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what do you think? What division do you think would be better in your opinion between these two? Is better?
This year, I'm gonna have to go with the AL Central, just because. I mean, the Guardians, they're arguably the best team in baseball. Arguably, well, arguably top 3 in baseball. The Royals, they're a very well-rounded team. I think if you were to match up the Royals, Twins, and Tigers with the Astros, Mariners, and Rangers, I think the AL Central would win. I think the AL Central is a stronger division this year, and that might change in the next year because Rangers, like, I don't think they're losing anybody. Everybody, I mean, they had some injuries. Like Corey Seager is off and on. He's obviously out with hernia surgery. They're getting DeGrom back. Like, I think the Rangers could be a force next year. The Mariners, they need to figure something out with that offense. I don't know who they're gonna lose in that rotation. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the AL Central would win in, like, let's say each team played each team in like a 4-game set.
Yeah.
I think the AL Central wins more games.
Yeah. I don't know what I would say. It's difficult because the White Sox are having a historically bad season. I went to Six Flags yesterday, and the amount of White Sox hats I saw compared to Cubs hats was absurd. I can't believe how many White Sox flag or hats I saw. But
Really?
we were waiting in line for a roller coaster, and there was these people wearing White Sox hats, and they heard me talking baseball to my dad, so we were just talking to them a little bit, and they're like, yeah, it's a rough year to be a White Sox fan. I'm like, I know. You don't have to tell me. I'm not a White Sox fan, but even from the outside looking in, it seems overwhelmingly bad.
Oh yeah.
But they just told me some stories, like what they'll do is like 20 minutes before first pitch, they'll go on the MLB app and buy tickets for $5 and then sit
Dang.
first level, 10 rows back. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's elite. Heck yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know if they were being truthful or not. I would imagine they would. Why would you lie about the White Sox price tickets?
I mean, I saw something the other day about how they played the White Sox played a double header and they had like some astronomically low attendance for like a combined from the both games. I was like, well, it kind of. I mean, with the season that they're having, it makes sense, but like still, like, dang. I think it was something like 900 combined from the 2 games.
That is unbelievable.
Like you
literally
look at
unbelievable.
Yeah, like you look at the stands, and I swear there was like only a few people behind home plate. Everything else was empty.
Why didn't you and I go?
For real, Chicago's not that far from me.
What were we doing? What other
Uh,
life things were that much more important than going to a White Sox game?
for real, then we could have gotten that. Then I could have gotten that stadium off my list.
I've been there. It's
I
not the
drove past
greatest
it.
stadium. It's all right.
I drove past it, seeing like the swirlies. I was like, ooh,
How many stadiums? This is a tangent. How many stadiums have you been to?
Miller.
That's the list.
Yep.
Man, man.
Yep.
When we were young, we went on a road trip and I saw Colorado and Kansas City.
Ooh, how was Kaufman?
I was younger, so I don't have the greatest memory, but so I've been to Pittsburgh and I've been to Kansas City, and I remember Kansas City being significantly more pretty.
Really, Kansas City?
Yeah,
All right, now you're just capping.
I was young, so you can
Okay,
do
fair enough.
whatever you want with that information. But like, I don't know, I just really liked the water stuff they had going on in center field, the like
Oh,
fountains.
yep, yep.
And Pittsburgh, what I remember is the inside of the stadium, like Miller Park, they got all this Brewers themed stuff. I
Yeah.
remember Pittsburgh being like pretty bland and just concrete.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, like the area is a pretty area, but maybe I was just visiting it during a remodel or something. I don't know. But
I don't know either. Never been. The only other like baseball stadium I've been to is like I've been to a T Rats game. I've been to the Wausau Woodchucks. Uh, I mean, yeah, that's about it. Like as far as fields go, like I've been to Camp Randall, been to Lambeau, but like
if it sells a
I mean
ticket
that's
and it's in Wisconsin, Bradley's been there.
yeah. Honestly, I mean for the most part, yeah.
We went to Tampa a while ago. Tampa was, I mean, you could probably get the idea by watching a game on TV, but so dead.
Tropicana seems like an awful thing.
Yeah, it was literally just dead. Um, and I don't think it was the fault of the Rays. It was just that nobody was there. It was early. I remember they played Toronto because they played the Canadian anthem.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um, yeah, just not much going on. There was this one guy in left field that had a cowbell that you could hear from across the stadium.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, White Sox, Minnesota, and then Milwaukee. So I've been to 7. I'll take it.
Dang, that's yeah, that's good. All right, I was gonna go to Guardians Brewers game in July, I think it was, but they were in Milwaukee, so I was like, damn.
Yeah, that looks
And I
like a
was,
fun stadium to go to.
oh yeah, I also might, I don't know, I might look at Reds tickets, see what's popping. Might head down there because Cincinnati's actually like I think only 2 hours away from me right now.
Nice.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be like a spring thing, like this coming spring when the season starts anew. Might go to Guardians. Might go to a Reds game. We'll see what happens.
I feel like every Reds game I watch just looks like it's blistering hot.
Oh yeah, it looks so miserable. I don't like the heat.
Yeah, I would just say try and find a earlier end of the year game. But anyway, what a weird tangent. How did we get here?
I don't know.
Oh, talking about the White Sox.
Oh
See,
yeah,
this is so much better than talking about the White Sox.
for real.
No, I'm just kidding. White Sox fans, um,
I'm sorry for your loss.
yeah, no. I feel like we say this every time we bring this team up, but it will get better because it almost statistically cannot get worse. I saw that in their last 12 games, 13 games, they needed to go last 14 games, they needed to go 9-5 in order to not have the worst record in MLB history, I think.
So
Yikes.
it might be a win for them just not to get the worst record in baseball history.
Yeah, they won the first game on a walk-off.
But hey, take what you can get.
Yeah, Andrew Benintendi walk-off home run.
Nintendo.
All right. Let's talk about ump scorecards if you want. Do you want to?
Sure.
So, if you have never tuned into the Ninth Inning Pod, we talk about some of the good and bads of umpiring, and look at one or two umpire scorecards every day. So, Bradley, would you like to tell us about an umpire you saw this week?
Yeah, I found one that looked just awful. Um, I picked Chad Fairchild from the Royals Pirates game on Saturday, so yesterday. It was 5-1 Kansas City. They won that game. I mean, like his stats don't look bad as far as accuracy and consistency, but then you look at the missed calls, and like it looks rough. I'm not gonna lie. Like the strikes he called were not great. The balls that he called, not great. It honestly kind of seems like his strike zone just kind of like shifted to the right. Doesn't it kind of seem like that a little bit?
Yeah, it's like he was just not set up correctly.
Yeah, it just seems like I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, just not a great game from Chad Fairchild. I mean, overall, it didn't really have a big impact. Like, he didn't have very many big impact calls, at least that I can see. But yeah, just not a great game from Chad. Like, and we've been over this. Umping's hard, but like this is just not a pretty game from you, Chad. Not pretty at all.
Another thing I wanted to mention about ump scorecards is sometimes they're misleading in the sense that, so if in this instance, say the catcher is lined up on the inside half of the plate, if he's expecting an inside pitch and the ball dives in, by inside I'm saying the right half of the plate. If
Yeah.
he's expecting a pitch there and it dives to the left half of the plate, and he has to lunge for it. Like some of these pitches that look like they're in the strike zone, if you're lunging for it, the umpire is probably not going to give you the call. So, I mean, this could just be a game where maybe a righty was pitching and the the righties were pitching and they were trying to attack inside and lefty hitters.
Yeah.
But like that, ump scorecards don't always tell the whole story, and I'm not saying that's what happened here, but just for anyone listening at home, that maybe as a possibility this is what happened. And again, we're trying to not always bash umpires, not always highlight umpires, but just make people more aware of umpiring in general. Um, but yeah, the game I did had a fewer incorrect calls. The reason I chose this, the reason it stood out to me, is because it was as neutral as you can get. Not neutral, sorry. It was the most average, accurate game possible. It was 0% below expected accuracy. It was 94% accuracy. The expected accuracy, spoiler alert, was 94%. He missed 7 out of 113 pitches. So a bad game is missing 7 calls the entire night. And honestly, it like I this is a good game behind the dish. This is a good game at the office. But Austin Jones in the Tampa Bay and Cleveland game on Friday called a phenomenal, I won't say phenomenal, a pretty good game behind the plate. And I just wanted to, I guess, show an average game. Next on our itinerary is to talk about the top performances of the week. Bradley, what is one of your performances?
My first performance that I'd like to touch on is actually Pete Crow Armstrong.
Ooh, for
That
the
man, yeah, for the good old, you know, Chicago Cubs. So on Wednesday, the Cubs beat the Dodgers 6-3. On that day, he went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. He drove in he drove in a run in the top of the eighth to kind of solidify the game. But that's not even the biggest. I mean, he had 3 incredible grabs in that game. One of them, he robbed a homer. I think he might have done that twice actually, and then one of them was just a phenomenal grab. I mean, this kid he's balling. I'm excited to see him put together. I mean, he's hitting 243 now, or at least on Wednesday he was. I'm excited to see what he can do with a full season up next year. Pico Armstrong, kudos to you, man. You're really kind of helping your Cubbies win there, especially that game.
Yeah, do you think that a full season of this version of Pico Armstrong is gonna burst the Cubs to the top of the Central?
Um, I don't know about the top. I think it'll be closer than 11 games behind the Brewers right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the Brewers were just, I mean, they've just been so consistent all year. I just think that the Cubbies just kind of as an overall roster struggled for so long. And even if PCA played like this all year, I think the rest of the roster kind of falters. So no, I don't think they this a full season of him doing this propels them to the first place. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that PCA is good. I feel like I'm seeing him on my social media feed often,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. He is. I don't know if he's underrated, but I definitely think that due to his slow start,
Yeah.
people were starting to say negative things about him,
Yeah.
saying
So
negative
I do
things about him.
I do want to touch on this again. So he made 3 spectacular catches, and then the last one he made was a game-winning home run robbery, and then
Yeah, I saw that. I think I have that as my. I wrote these down actually. I think I tweeted it as my third best catch of the year, and the other two are
I
also game-winning home run robberies. So that one would have. Correct me if I'm wrong. PCA would have tied the game.
think it would have tied the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the second one I wrote down was Sal Frelick against the Angels in June, I think. Brewers
Mhm.
were up 2, and it was a 3-run homer on its way out. Actually, they might have been up 3. Either way, a 3-run homer on his way out. Same thing PCA did, leaping catch at the wall. And then my best one is Travis Jankowski on the Rangers that we talked about a few weeks ago. Um, but it is so much fun to see those types of catches at the end of the
Oh yeah.
game.
Like this first one in the bottom of the seventh, he made a sliding grab in the warning track. Is just disgusting. Um, and then and this other one is just disgusting too. In the bottom of the eighth, he made another disgusting grab. I can't even describe that one for you. Like that was just how did he even? That was just weird. And then yeah, this one is just this home run robbery sealed the game. And yeah, and it would have tied the game up.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to watch athletes make athletic plays.
Oh yeah.
One of my performances, Seth Lugo versus the Yankees on Tuesday, led his team to a 5-0 win with 7 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, 3 hits, and no walks. Just a dominant performance from Lugo. Nothing outside of that. He just looked really good. That's it. I got to watch some of the game, and yeah, he just looked good. He caught Judge on his Paw Patrol slump, which helped a little bit. But yeah, Seth Lugo versus the Yankees. Who's next on your list?
Next one on my list, I do wanna shout out one player that you and I both love for something that he did, but he's not on my list. So I'll go with Kerry Carpenter. in a Tigers 7-4 win against the Rockies. This man went 4 for 4 with a ribby. And I mean, just like Kerry Carpenter, 4 for 4 on the day with the RBI. I mean, like you said earlier, the Tigers are surging, and Kerry Carpenter is a massive reason as to why that is. And I mean, he should be under team control for a long time. Him and Riley Green, Matt Vierling, Torkelson can hopefully figure it out. Like they have a good core. It's just a matter of continuing to develop.
Yeah, I saw that game. Pretty good. I mean, it was just pretty good. There's nothing crazy to say outside of that. Um, One of the players I wrote down was Rhett Lauder versus the Cardinals on Tuesday.
Yeah, Wake Forest boy.
he he recently made his debut. He made his debut against the Brewers 2 weeks ago or so. Um, on Tuesday threw 5 shutout innings, at the time lowering his ERA to 0.59 in his first MLB win. That was his third start. He only struck out 3, but any amount of shutout innings you can get is always a good day at the office. Right now, after a loss earlier today, his ERA got jumped up to 1.74, but still, Rhett Lauder, welcome to the show. Glad you got your first MLB dub.
Oh, 100%. Dude, he was so much fun to watch in the College World Series. Was it 2 years ago now?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, he was in the same draft class as Kumar Rocker and Mark Leiter, and so isn't Mark? I feel like I'm screwing that up. That doesn't sound right. Al Leiter's son. They got the Rangers youngster.
I think it's Mark Leiter.
Okay. No, but yeah, I mean that I don't know. I really like that
No.
pitching
Mark
class.
Leiter is the Cub.
Oh yeah, who am I thinking? What's his name, man?
A Jack.
Jack. Yes, thank you. I apologize to you, Mark and Jack Leiter.
And Al.
I knew you were Al's son, but I just kind of forgot your name, buddy. My apologies. Yeah, Brett Lauder was a lot of fun to watch.
Who is your last performance of the week?
My last performance is kind of like, I don't know. I'm gonna say like a pat on the back. It wasn't necessarily a great performance. He only went 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a 6-4 win against the Angels for the Twins. But my third performance is Brooks Lee, former top prospect. He was before this game on an 0 for 19 skid, and he finally broke that. And he drove in 2 RBIs, which could have won them the game there. Without him, if they didn't do that, maybe the Twins lose that game. But good pat on the back. Sometimes players just need one hit, especially talented guys like this guy. I mean, sometimes you just like look at Jackson Holiday. You know, he comes up, gets sent down. I bet you his confidence was shaken a little bit. I guarantee you this guy's confidence was shaken after going on an 0 for 19 skid. Sometimes they just need a little bit more. Sometimes they just need one little thing to go their way, and then they're snapped back in place.
Yeah, I think similar to that too. You could almost put PCA in that conversation. He was up
Oh
for
yeah,
start the year, got sent down, worked on some things, came up, and he was still struggling a little bit, but then eventually he figured it out, and since then, the last month or so, he's been cooking.
fried rice.
The last person I wrote down, um, I told Bradley before the stream I needed to write this one down, otherwise I didn't think I was going to say much positive about them because the Brewers are chasing them for a bye right now. But JT Realmuto had a walk-off against the Mets today. The end of that game was pretty. It wasn't insane, but it was fun. It was a fun back and forth finish. Castellanos singled, and Realmuto sent him home with 2 outs in the ninth. And yeah, just a very important game for the Phillies and the Mets. A very important loss for the Mets. That's a game they really wanted to win. And Real Muto, with a big cut at the end. It was his only hit of the game, but if that's the time you're gonna get your only hit, I don't think manager is gonna be too upset. Did you say you had another like shout out person?
Oh, I did. I'm surprised you haven't said it yet.
Um, I felt like if you're gonna say who I think you're gonna say, I felt like I wanted to, but at the same time, I gotta keep some amount of bias out of this.
What do you mean?
Who, are you- who,
This is big news.
let's hear it. Who are you?
There is a new youngest player in MLB history 2020 season, and that man is the Milwaukee Brewers' very own homegrown Jackson Chourio.
Does that name have Rookie of the Year slapped onto it or no?
No. I told you the only way I think Jackson wins Rookie of the Year is if he gets 30-30. And I don't think that's gonna happen. So
I'm trying to find the. I don't know where it is. The way you can compare them to see how much closer it's got, but yeah, I did not. Embarrassingly, I didn't even think that's who you're gonna say. I thought you were gonna say somebody else who had a good game last night. But yeah, Jackson Chourio hit his 20th home run. Um, that just took flight in San Francisco. I'll tell you what, the Brewers, the last NL stadium they had to visit this year was San Francisco,
yep.
and as someone who only plays there once a year, I don't like playing there. Like as a fan, watching those games, dude, man, it feels like every hit to right field is going the Giants' way. Um, yeah, that has to be one of the most fun stadiums to have as a home stadium. So you could just a lefty in San Francisco would be so much fun.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But yeah, Churio's home run ball got caught in the wind and soared on out of here. That was a really interesting series. The Giants blew out the Brewers in game 2. In game 3, Adames walks and then Camilo Doval wild pitches him around, which is only the second time that's happened all year. So it was just a weird series, all in all. But
By the way, I have the updated odds. For NL, this is 4 days ago. The NL Rookie of the Year odds: Jackson Merrill's minus 400, Skeens is plus 250, and then Churio's plus 2,000. So they obviously they think it's just a two-person race as well, which kind of is my opinion. But
yeah, no, I'm only saying that as a biased Brewers fan. Don't get it twisted, anyone that's listening. I don't think Churio really has a chance unless this last 2 weeks he just goes crazy.
Right.
Because even if he does end up with similar stats to Jackson Merrill, I think the argument is going to be that Merrill was doing it the entire year, and Churio has kind of only been doing it since June.
Right. Which
But,
the AL Rookie of the Year odds are actually kind of insanely close right now. Luis Gil is plus 115. Austin Wells is plus 150, and Colton Cowser is plus 250. Apparently, they think that's anybody's race right now.
Yeah. If
Wow.
if it were you, who would you take right now? I know we had this conversation a few podcasts
I'd still
ago.
take Heel. I'd still take Heel.
Austin Wells recently put his name on my radar again. I knew the name, and then it kind of like faded from thought, and now I'm like, huh. And he's been playing really well recently for that team out there in New York.
Yeah. Yes.
But so is Cowser and Heel, to be fair. But yeah, is there anything else, Bradley, that you have that you saw this week that you want to talk about? I know we're getting to the end of the podcast here, but do you see anything that thought would be cool to mention?
I mean, honestly, no. I mean, it's baseball, man. You got to enjoy it right now because this is getting down to the wire. enjoy that Mets Braves bloodbath of trying to get that last wild card spot and watch your favorite team while you can, especially if they're not in the playoff race, because then you're gonna have to wait a long time.
Yeah, isn't it a sad thought that like a month and a half from now we're gonna have to wait like 5 months?
Yeah, it's really sad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this time to go, man.
I'm not either. It's nice being able to get home and instead of watching TV, just be able to watch any baseball team
Right.
I could choose.
No, I agree with you.
Nothing like those T-Mobile ads that I get every time I turn on the game.
Yeah.
And the booking.com ads.
T-Mobile.
You know
You
about those
shake.
booking.com ads?
Oh yeah. Booking.com. Booking. Yeah.
Even New York fans are enjoying Boston.
No, not my kids. We're not.
The amount of times I've heard that we're not is sickening.
Is yeah,
If you haven't heard that we're not, then you need to watch more baseball.
for real.
And
I'm really
I,
glad they didn't do the Cubs and Brewers. Instead, they did the Cardinals and Cubs. I enjoyed that one.
yeah, I did too. Either way, I would have been annoyed. I would either say I don't want Cubs fans in Milwaukee, and then I would say I don't want Brewers fans in Chicago,
For real.
unless they're going to White Sox territory. Then by all means, as long as
Yeah.
Tommy Pham didn't spread the grudge over to the White Sox.
Oh, not Tommy Pham.
All right, we're gonna probably wrap this up before
Yeah,
before
we
we
are.
talk about Tommy Pham anymore. Kansas City Royals legend.
Okay. That's
You,
enough out of you.
that's immaculate grid right there. White Sox Royals, Tommy Pham. Let's get that above 2% next time.
Oh, Ben, time to end this podcast.
I agree. Have a good night, everybody. Good night. Have a good one, everybody. Good night, good day, good morning. Bye.